Well, representing the city of Moscow is, without question, a very interesting job. And so the last 4 years for me have been absolutely wonderful. So to the citizens of Moscow, I thank you for letting me serve as a member of the Moscow City Council. And I want to say this, that you have a talented, experienced, and dedicated group of women and men that work for you as employees of the city of Moscow. So to the whole staff, I thank you, to the entire staff, for helping me do my job as a Moscow City Council person. To my fellow council members, I want to thank you for your participation in Moscow City government. And I want to welcome Bill Lambert, our incoming mayor, Art Betke, and John Weber, incoming council members. Welcome. I've enjoyed being on the Moscow City Council. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Sue?
Well, I knew Tim's modus operandi and reputation is to thank everybody, so I knew he would cover all those bases for me. But yes, I really do appreciate all the help with all the staff, and I don't know how you guys get any work done. You spend so much time explaining it and doing meetings and meeting with the public. I don't know. I just want to say, bathroom in Friendship Square, bathroom in Friendship Square, bathroom in Friendship Square. And also, I'm going to keep my eye on the clearing of snow and ice from the sidewalks as the mall promised they would, and it's not done. It's still there. And so, and the 41 no left turns done on Main Street. We'll get a new sign there. There's some unfinished business that I just kind of, and I'm not going anywhere. I'm right across the street, so I'm going to be leaving. But the 4 years on council is like a college education in political science, and in it used to be a master's degree in public administration. I just got it, and it's almost like, oh gee, now I've learned so much, and the body of knowledge that's leaving is gone. And it's also this whole greater generation. Well, we're not the greatest generation, that was the ones before us, but this whole generation of boomers, all our knowledge as we retire is kind of not going to be in place. So you young pipsqueaks, don't forget to ask us things, because we do remember some stuff before you got here. A lot of college students have asked me, what's the most important thing? What did you like the best about being on council? What was the most important thing? And they kept thinking that maybe there'd be some dramatic incident. And I always say it's the budget, the budget, the budget, the budget meetings. You find out how much money the city does not have, and how we manage to do as much as we do with it is just amazing. So some of you come to budget meetings and find out, and you don't complain about, oh gee, why isn't the city doing this? Until you come up with a checkbook and go, oh, I'll pay you to do that. You can raise my taxes a little bit. So the other thing is that the perception that Moscow's not business friendly is sort of been a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you say it often enough, people will believe it. If Walmart wanted to put a superstore in over across from the cemetery today, they could. We have the ordinance in place to do it. The fact that they stayed where they were and built a smaller store and did not leave a dark store, I think helps the economy of Moscow, because all of those businesses, Applebee's and Geronlo's, and all of the people that built around where Walmart was, it's like building next to McDonald's. Everybody wants to be by the busy place. They would have suffered had there been a dark store. So the fact that they downsized and stayed, that's a wonderful thing for Moscow's economy. I heard people out in the county say, oh, it was a horrible thing that there was large retail, they had to wait for a large retail establishment ordinance before anything was done out by the cemetery. And they said, well, you know, and Lewiston, they didn't do anything mean against Walmart. Well, Walmart left Lewiston too. I think Walmart has understood how the economy, how it's smarter to be greener, and it's smarter to be smaller, and the entire situation of big empty malls across America has not been a good thing. So I think we are business friendly. We're doing the industrial park. It takes a long time. We have the Legacy Crossing, and we have the railroad right-of-way, and I think we're just getting started. I think Moscow's just getting started. Our businesses are going to grow, and we're going to be fine. And thank you for letting me serve.
Thank you, Sue. Well,
25 words or less.
I'm guessing these two, they must have been looking over my shoulder as I wrote some notes about both of them, which I want to share here in just a minute. But I also want to join my colleagues in thanking the citizens of Moscow for the great honor and pleasure of being able to serve as mayor for these past 8 years and as a city council member for 2 years prior. This is a marvelous community with strongly held and diversely held ideas. I think that's among our greatest strengths, and I hope that we can retain that diversity and the ferociously held opinions that are brought before our elected officials to make the best decisions on behalf of the citizens of Moscow, all of the citizens of Moscow. I also want to join Tim in thanking city staff, and I've tried to do that consistently along the way. I sent a note to all the staff today, but certainly elected officials can't do it without the quality of staffing we have here in the city of Moscow. We have tremendously talented people, and as Sue pointed out, they're oftentimes working very creatively to leverage resources, to do some good things, to help stretch those dollars just as far as we can. So please convey our collective thanks to all of the city's staff through all of the departments citywide. Tim Brown.
Yes, ma'am.
He has earned his reputation as a hard worker. As you could tell tonight, he takes exceptional notes to represent, in this case, the volunteer commissions on which he has served as a council liaison. And he's done that as well as anyone I have ever seen. One commission chair described Tim as the best liaison they've ever had. I think he's especially come into his own over the past several months. He poses probing questions. He introduces ideas that have been a little bit off the beaten path sometimes representing those commission perspectives that are not always fully recognized at the level of council. So these commissions, these volunteers do a huge amount of work. We've thanked staff, but we couldn't do it without our volunteers either. And I think we have well over 100 volunteers now doing tremendous work. But to bring those views, the hard-working volunteer citizens, and bring their perspectives to the city council, to the policymakers level, takes somebody like Tim Brown and the representation he has provided. So I want to say thank you to Tim and wish him well in his future endeavors, and I have a small token of appreciation for that. Tim.
Smaller
Well,
than a Porsche.
You can open that up if you want to. While I'm talking about Sue, I think you might unwrap that. Sue Scott. So some of you may know this. I recruited Sue to run for city council. She was somewhat reluctant, as I was when I first ran, and I kept saying, I know you're going to love it. I did. I remember that, dig your heels in and say, come on, I write letters to the editor, I vote, I'm not council material, and she's been terrific. So I knew her to be a smart person, a diligent worker, and she has demonstrated that again. She's had cause to juggle a lot of things over the course of her tenure as a council member, personal as well as professional considerations, and I think she's done that with the efficiency of a true pragmatist and the inspiration of someone who loves lifelong learning. You heard that tonight as she's talking about getting her master's in public administration minus the diploma through this process. Sue put together one of the most inspiring Renewing Our Focus segments I've ever heard, and that was the one we've yet to dredge up. I think she recycled the paper, but it was about the Latah County Fair and kind of the personal and community values that are represented there. It was a wonderful segment, so I hope we can find that again. Sue is certainly not an ideologue. Did she and I always agree? No, absolutely not. But I always appreciated the thoughtfulness and the practicality of her positions and her ability to back that up in a very articulate fashion. And I think some of that may have had to do with all of those years of training on the Planning and Zoning Commission and developing those reasoned statements of relevant criteria and standards. As I mentioned before, Sue has been my companion in trying to set the pace for these Pledge of Allegiance segments that we do and keep them respectful and cohesive, befitting the solemnity of that pledge. And finally, another really impressive thing about Sue Scott is her family. And by getting to know her, I've come to know her delightful and precocious grandchildren. And so if anybody's looking to recruit candidates in about, 2024, or maybe National Merit Scholars, I'm not sure, or both, they could look to those children, and they certainly inspire me, as their grandmother has. And I also have a small token of appreciation for Sue.
You. I love the paper.
Yeah.
There's
And because
monkeys on here.
somebody
I don't
might want to
that
know what
means.
that is. It is under the $25 threshold. I want the taxpayers to know this, or the voters to know this.
Well, I'm
But,
That looks
Yeah.
like me
Just
carrying
didn't
all
wanna
those
make-
I
bags.
thought it did too. Enjoy the
much
journey.
noise.
That's all right. There you are. So I'm thinking that Tim is going to be heading up to Lake Coeur d'Alene with a little more frequency and have occasion to become a fish flipper. Is that what I called it in there, that little note?
Yeah.
I didn't know what you were handing it to me for, what I was going to shovel with it.
Yeah, maybe you should just leave it up here at the dais for the next team. I don't know.
Thank
All right.
you. Thank you.
All right.
It's a good one. Good one. All righty.
One more thing here, if she can get that open. All right. Okay.
Oh, bicycling gloves. We had we did the Palouse Sprint Triathlon the first year. Tom won the swimming event. They talked me into doing bicycling, and these guys, because he came out of the pool first, I was ahead for 100 yards till the guys with the alien helmets on their skinny tires went by.
But you look good in your sweatsuit.
She did.
Your orange
And
sweatshirt.
who ran the anchor leg on your
And
team,
the
Sue?
anchor leg,
Uh-huh.
right there. So it says to Sue, almost a quorum. That was the name of our team, right?
All right.
Thank you very
So
much.
there are some good memories up here. Please join me in giving a hand to our outgoing elected officials.